Some of the research that I'm involved in at the moment is around the area of transformative learning experiences in social work education. So what I'm interested in there is the type of learning that occurs for social work students during the course of their studies in a social work program. I'm particularly interested in a kind of learning that happens when a person goes through a profound reassessment of their values. So the things that they have assumed about the world suddenly get called into question, and they do a sort of a resetting of what they think about the world. So the research that I'm involved in at the moment involves talking to final year social work students about their experience of learning and attempting to identify whether many of them have had this really deep transformative experience, and where they have, trying to understand how that came about. People seem to fall into one of three categories. So there are people who come into social work with a very clear set of values that match closely the social work values. They may have had the experience of growing up in a family where those values were present, or they may have had parents or friends who were social workers. And so for those people, that deep transformative change is less likely to happen because the values they've come in with are already the kind of values they're going to encounter in the course. The second group of people tends to be a group of people who change over the length of the degree while they're studying, but that change is a gradual, incremental process. So it's not a dramatic thing, it's sort of a step-by-step process where they're slowly acquiring new information, new insights, and along that path, their values and their worldview change. The third group, and this is the group that I'm particularly interested in, are a group of students who come in with values or experiences which are quite different from those that they will encounter in their studies. And those encounters where they bump up against new ideas or concepts that they haven't grappled with, or even bump up against groups of people that they haven't encountered before, cause this kind of disorientation, what we refer to as a disorienting dilemma. As a result of that, they start reflecting on the assumptions that they've been carrying around with themselves. And sometimes those reflections lead to a realization that, hey, my old ideas don't really work anymore. They're not inclusive enough to accommodate this new information that I'm encountering, and I need to try something else. And that's really that transformative moment. One of the areas that I'm particularly interested in is the connection between social work and the natural environment. So social work has always been concerned about people's context and the environment in which people live. So we're interested in the way that the world around people might shape their well-being. But that interest hasn't generally included in the past the natural environment, so the non-human world, if you like. But increasingly around the world, we're recognizing the impacts of things like climate change or pollution on people's well-being. And so that connection between social well-being and the natural environment is becoming much clearer for us. And in my opinion, becoming something that social workers need to pay much more attention to. Here at JCU, we've got one of only 2 standalone subjects in our degree that deals specifically with that topic. And that's a fantastic opportunity for students to begin to see those connections and build some knowledge and skills in what will almost certainly become a new growth area for social work practice in the future.